We'll start by talking about the LDS Giving Machines. You've probably seen these. If you haven't seen them, you've probably heard about them. They're not red boxes. I noticed that somebody in the chat prior to us starting said, yeah, it's like a red box. It does kind of look like that. But these have been put out by the LDS Church since 2017. And I think I'll start by reading a little bit of an article. I've done some of my own research into this. Oh, I'm so glad I printed this out on my own paper because, again, like Lauren said, we have to make our slides bigger. So this was an article that was actually from the Church News last year at the end of the season. So it kind of has all the stats from last year. Of course, this year, the stats are not in yet. So it says expanded location, mobile versions, and generous givers to the Light the World Giving Machines during the 2022 Christmas season means that millions of people worldwide will be blessed in 2023, which is where we are now. The Giving Machines, located in 28 cities and across 6 countries, drew an estimated of 425,000 donors from November through the 1st of January, according to a report published March 21st on the churchofjesuschrist.org. From those donations, more than 3.2 million healthy meals and 13,000 boxes of fresh produce will feed the hungry. Nearly 32,000 children will receive school supplies and class instruction, including 2,900 scholarships for tuition and housing. More than 516,000 children will be vaccinated against polio and measles, and this is my favorite part, and I think this is everybody's favorite part, more than 38,000 chickens, 25,000 ducks, and 3,700 beehives, because we are the beehive state, will provide families with long-term nutrition and income potential. So if you're not familiar with what a giving machine is, it's the giant red box where you put in your credit card and you can choose services, goods, products to go to families in need. Exactly. I'm assuming most of you are familiar. So let's go to our next slide. The Light the World Giving Machines have now raised, and again, this was from last year because it's ongoing right now this year, they've raised $22 million from 1.5 million donors in 6 years, said Carl Cheney, the initiative's manager in the missionary department of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, that's very interesting to me that somebody in the missionary department would be giving these stats. Giving machines will be placed in 61 cities in 7 countries in November and December, more than double the 28 machines that raised about $6 million last year. So this is something to know, is that if you look at this graphic here, this is from the Widow's Mite, because they, of course, are very interested in any kind of statistics having to do with the charitable giving and receiving of donations. So it may be a little small to see, but you can see from when they started in 2017, there's a gap there for COVID because the giving machines didn't really happen, but every year just going up, and they're on track this year to do quite a bit more. Let's go to the next slide. The giving machine is a way to give something tangible back this holiday season. All purchased items are donated to those in need across the world. The Church of Jesus Christ covers all operational costs, so 100% of each donation goes directly to the charitable organization. So that's kind of in a nutshell what a giving machine is. You give your funds, you choose a charitable product, and then the church gives it to that organization. So let's go to the next slide. This process, of course, raises a lot of questions. Some people are incredibly suspicious of this. So on my podcast, Mormonish, I decided to kind of dive in and ask some questions and talk to some people behind the scenes because on the surface, it seems like a pretty amazing thing. In fact, you may have noticed the actor Paul Rudd. I don't know if you've seen these TikTok videos where he's behind it. Well, I learned from a source that he just stumbled on those on his own. The church is not paying him, as a lot of people suggest, and he just stumbled upon them, thought it was the coolest thing he'd ever seen, and decided to make his own promotional materials. So I thought that was really interesting. Some of the questions that I kind of gathered from social media having to do with the giving machine, people are asking, how are the charities in the giving machine chosen? That's a very good question. You see those little cards there. Each one has a charity and a product. How do those even get into the machine? Well, I contacted a former executive director of a nonprofit charity that was involved in the Giving Machine in years past. And basically they're nominated usually through some kind of LDS avenue, some kind of connected person in the church, and they have to apply, much like you would for a grant. They have to make all of their financials transparent, everything, open their books, all their records, so that the church will know that they can be trusted to provide the goods that people are going to purchase. After they're selected and they win the nomination, they work with the church to come up with the products, goods, or services that are going to be seen on those little cards there in the Giving Machine. So it's all up and up as far as that. And the other thing that I didn't realize is that in each Giving Machine, you're going to have international charities, and then you're going to have local charities. So you have goods and services provided internationally and also to people right in your neighborhood, right in your city. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't realize that either. Another question people were asking on social media, does your Giving Machine money go directly to the designated charity? It does not. Once you put your credit card into that little slot and you pick what kind of a service or good or product, like a chicken or a pig or a beehive that you want to donate, it will take your card, it'll run your card, and then the church will take that money, and eventually, according to this executive director that I talked to, a lump sum will appear in the bank account of the charity. So yes, the money does go to the charity, but it first goes to the church and then it is sent to the charity. That's how it was explained to me by this particular executive director. Does the church match your Giving Machine donation? Wouldn't that be amazing? But that is not the case. That does not happen. The money that you give to purchase the good and service, that is what goes to the charity. Does the LDS Church cover the operational costs? In many of the press releases, it says that it does cover the operational costs. And I believe, obviously, it finds the venues, it makes the machines, although I feel like a lot of that might be donated. They also have, if you go to a Giving Machine, missionaries. When I visited one in my local mall, there were some wonderful elders that were there, all decked out, holiday attire. I went back another time and there were people from local wards and stakes. They are there to help you use the machine. They are there to hold your purse so that you can take a selfie and put it on social media. They definitely encourage you to promote and to put out pictures as you're using the Giving Machine. And I do have to say, it's a pretty festive atmosphere at the Giving Machine. When I was there, little kids jumping up and down, they wanted to choose a chicken, they love to push the buttons. I mean, it's definitely a way to promote giving. Next question. Does the LDS Church report your Giving Machine donation as their own charitable contribution? Well, on my podcast, we had accounting professor Spencer Anderson come on. He's associated with the Widow's Mite, and he explained that, yes, that does happen. You donate your money to the Giving Machine, the church takes your money and then gives it to the charity, and then that money, that amount, is included in their end of the year charitable giving report. Now, according to Spencer Anderson, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. It's a very, very small compared to all of the charitable giving that they might report that year. So I guess the bottom line is you can look at it however you want to look at it. Yes, the money does, and the goods and services do go to people in need. Yes, the church does report it as their own charitable giving. Could you just donate directly to the charity? Yes. Is it easy and fun to go up to the red machine and put in your credit card? It is. So there are kind of give and take and different ways to look at it. Now, when you do run your credit card, I will tell you this, a little sign comes up that says, would you personally like to cover some of the operational credit card charges? If you hit yes, that means that you're paying for it. If you hit no, the church does have to cover it. So in that way, they do bear some of the costs. So pros and cons. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts very quickly? Any thoughts on Giving Machines? RFM?
Oh, I think you nailed it with the guy who's in charge of it, the guy who's over at the missionary department.
I know.
All roads in the LDS church lead to the missionary department. I think anybody who's been a member for any amount of time knows that's true.
Yeah, I think that's true. Have you ever come across one, Lauren?
I have. They're all over where we're living, and people seem to really enjoy them. My thought, if Paul Rudd likes it, so do I. That's all that matters.
The Rudd endorsement. That's it.
Right. Sold.
That's it. Have you seen them, Bill, or used them?
I have not seen them anywhere other than in images online. I do find it sort of strange that an entity which is adamant that it not various ways be transparent or lay out its books, requires that those
Yes.
charities that are part of
Yes.
its program here be open with its books and transparent. That sort of caught my eye.
Yeah, it is interesting. And the executive director that I had talked to said, yeah, we understand how that works. And again, most charities are so used to applying for grants that they're very proud of their transparency. They're proud of their books. Everything's up and above board. So they're more than happy to share. So, but they're on track this year to do even so much more than last year. So it's really growing incrementally into, and I should mention that they kicked off the whole campaign with a giant Times Square, every billboard lit up with the giving machine and messages from the church. So
Was that the one where they all said 1, 2, 3, let's go shopping?
it was similar to that. Yes, there could be some little parallels there, and some people do question the commercialization of charitable giving. You don't see a lot of other churches who do a lot during the holidays and year round. You don't really know what they're doing. It's very under wraps, but they're doing it. So that could be a question too. So again, love them or hate them, but the bottom line is there are good services and products going to people in need during the next year. So you can look at it that way.